Hi, everybody. Well, it's a beautiful morning. I've come outside to finish doing some of the plantings. Yeah, I was thinking about gardens and our lives. We buy all these things, or we nurture the perennials, and we figure out what we want to have in our gardens, and then we try to put them where we think they're going to go. And some of them look beautiful there, and some others don't. They start to grow and it's like, oh, that's not at all what I thought it was going to look like. Yeah, that really doesn't work there, does it? Oh, that's kind of unattractive. Oh, that's beautiful. And to try to figure out how to get things right all the time, well, that's hard. I can't always envision. I mean, experience gives us some ability to envision what things are going to look like or how they're going to grow in specific areas, right? But lots of times we don't know until we start with them. And we don't really know where it's best to change things to, where should I move them to, until we put them there and see how they look, live with them a little bit. Kind of like painting a room. We get the little paint chips and we tape them to the wall so we can see them in different light, what the color might look like. Well, at least that's how I do it. I don't know about anybody else. And I'm thinking about how that's probably the same with our choices in life. I remember when I first was ordained and I served a church just for 1 year. I was sort of a transitional person there. And I came away from there thinking, well, I don't know that I'm meant to be in ministry. I was very depressed, thinking that the last 3 years of going to seminary and all of that was wasted. One of my friends said to me, well, sometimes you just don't know if you're in the right place until you live it for a while. And I've heard that said about relationships. I've heard it said about careers. I've heard it said about gardens and other changes in our lives. How do you know when it's time for a change, when you're ready or the environment is ready for a change? I think it just doesn't feel right anymore. It doesn't feel the same way that it used to, but many things don't feel the same way they used to, and they're still right. So that's not a hard and fast rule, is it? We kind of look around at things in our lives and say, that doesn't fit anymore. Sometimes we do it with relationships. I care about that person, but they're not as central to my day-to-day life as they used to be. We look at our careers, I think, sometimes, and we put it under the same scrutiny. I was talking with my seminary roommate yesterday, because we've both been at this ministry thing for 31 years now. We look at it and we feel differently about it. How do you do it? How do you know when it's time for a change? Or do you just wait until things fall apart and you go, oh, guess it's time for a change? I think the more we can be preemptive in our changes, the more we can be ready for them in advance and welcome them and usher them in, I think the better it is for us in the long run. Yeah. Same is true for the garden. Getting ready to plant my final 2 large pots. And I'll give you a tour later. Maybe next week sometime if the weather's nice. Still have to get the fountain up and running. Thought about moving that, changing its location, decided, no, I don't think so. Kind of fits there. Bought a new screened-in gazebo because the screen was ripped and the frame was bent on the old one. Was going to throw it out. My daughter still wishes I would, but I didn't. Instead, I moved it to the back, so now we have two screened-in areas. One right near the house, and then one that's the destination gazebo. Some of you will remember that from a few years ago. We try things. We see how they are. We try them out as ideas before we enact them. We try flowers and plants in different places. Sometimes we have to dig them up and transplant them. And I think that's kind of what God does with us. God encourages us to try new things, and if we don't like something, then to try something else. Change isn't bad. It's just hard because we get used to something, and when we're getting ready to change, we remember all the good times. We don't think of the times that were hard. Right now, as we are re-entering the world, many of us doing things in person again, post-COVID, it's hard for us to not want to do them exactly as they were done in the past for the times that worked, for all the good memories that we have. But the fact is that we are all changed. People are changed from what we went through. Even when we get back into in-person worship, it's going to take months, if not longer, for it to feel at all, quote, normal. Just look at how you feel about, going out to eat or going without your mask to the store, if you do. I think we underestimate how much people want to get back to normal and how hard it's going to be when that happens. Because it's a whole new deal, and it's a whole new world. Good thing God's in charge, huh? Because God's got this. Even if we don't. God knows what the changes are going to be. God knows the best place for the flowers in the garden. God knows the right changes for us to make in our lives. God knows. God's got this. So I guess the message on this Friday, when I won't see you for a couple of days, is to go ahead and try new things. Don't be afraid to think about change. God's in the change too. Thanks for joining me for this prayerful pause with the pastor. I'm Pastor Deb Swift of South Presbyterian Church in Rochester, New York. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great weekend if you're watching in real time. And if not, well, have a great day anyway until I see you next, which could be right after this if you're binge watching. All right, everybody. Take care. God bless. And bye for now.